This is Wilson Morales from Black Family TV talking to Aml Ameen, who's talking about Rustin now that he can talk. Talk to me about playing the role of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Wow. Wow. Mate, first of all, it's really nice to be speaking to you. I follow you on social media for years and years, and so it's really nice to be talking to you. The role of playing Martin Luther King Jr., man, is that formidable, gigantic shoes that you wonder, how and if you can indeed fill them. I literally had an audition for it 2 years ago, and it came about really fast. And funny enough, the month before it, I had a dream, literally, about playing King. This is not a role that I've been thinking about or anything, but July 15th, I had a dream, and then August 17th, I was auditioned. So very strange kind of, calling almost to do this and have this experience with King, man. I loved it, and it was seismic, but very interestingly placed within the story. Within the context of his friendship with Rustin, which is something that I don't think anybody's really seen. They've not seen Martin in a really intimate space with a friendship, Martin at a younger stage of his life. And so that was a compelling journey to go on with George C. Wolfe and Colman Domingo.
A lot of people like to think that they know a lot about Martin Luther King based on either growing up and reading when you're growing up in history books. There's been documentaries, there's been films. Obviously, every time you see Martin Luther King in any film, at least feature film, you get a new perspective. We're getting a new perspective of King in terms of his relationship with Rustin, who was never talked about in any other, in most projects to that extreme. How much did you know and how much research did you do outside of the script you were given?
I didn't know anything about Bayard Rustin at all. When I got the emails like Rustin, well, who's that? And after looking at who it was and the fact that I was going to be working with Colman, who I'd known for years, having done the butler with him, the research began once I was given the part that actually Bayard Rustin was one of the great influences of King into the nonviolent movement, going into that way of thinking, their friendship, the sense of Martin having to distance himself from him, the sense of betrayal, that journey. So I did a lot of research on what that friendship was going to be like within the context of the story. And then with King himself, the process of kind of building him out was kind of understanding his voice, understanding how it travels, understanding, Southern Baptist roots, but also this Bostonian aspect to his life, and that there was another version where he was going to become a teacher, understanding the relationships that surrounded his life before him and Coretta settled down, understanding that the calling kind of pulled him in more than him just wanting to do it. This reluctant hero in a sense. Again, these things I found compelling and human about the King journey. Yeah.
I'm hearing you in your accent. You've played so many American roles. You're like, and people always say, why we got to get Brits to play these American icons? When you're playing the role of Martin, and obviously there's a certain speech, that you have to say that we're expecting. You just can't talk the way you talk. And even if you were doing the American accent, you have to practice the way Martin talked. That's what everybody's looking for, whether it's the talk or the walk. Not that we're looking for an imitation. I think the key word is always that he embodied the character. How did you try to embody King's mannerism and his speech?
Wow. So I worked with a lady called Liz Himmelstein first on The Voice, and, started to warm up the vocals and the musicality to how he speaks, because there's a musicality to that. And I lived with it for a good while. And I think I centered it all around the speech, the I Have a Dream speech. And I made that the beginning of me really understanding his voice. I went to the Lincoln Memorial and I stood out against it and looked at this place, and I was like, whoa, this is where the speech was given. And slowly but surely, in isolation, started to ramp myself up and started to do the speech. and people are going past me and starting to do the speech and making sure that it was in my body in a very particular way. And then the next process of things was like the mind of King, and watching a lot of YouTube clips of his interviews and doing research on the people that influenced him, and then creating this kind of imagined life of him and then living in it. And I'm a sort of actor, I tend to lean more towards the part. You know, I tend to come in the energy of the part. So when I came on set, I was someone, they met King, they didn't meet Aml, you know. For a good few 3-4 weeks, I was in that space. And one of the things that really helped ground me was the sense of, there was the quote, you know, judge not by the color of your skin, but the content of your character. And I was like, well, what does that actually mean in reality other than being a bumper sticker? And what I found it to mean for me, and what helped me kind of really sit into King, was this feeling of delaying your judgment of anybody, period. So you meet someone and you really decide to be present and truly take them in. And in doing that, you experience a sense of nirvana. And it really sat me into him and this feeling of contemplation and observation on how and which way to move. And you really have a different experience with people. Like, my mind goes really fast as a person, but if you have this real distance and you just take people in, it also slows down your speech, which takes an extreme amount of confidence as well to take up that type of space and time, you know. So those are some of the ways in which I found, you know, my way into King. Yeah.
You mentioned you had worked with Colman on The Butler. Obviously, that was a minute ago, and you know, obviously, I'm assuming you guys have seen each other since then. What was that chemistry like working together again, but mostly closely because your characters are, you know, together, you know, for most of your scenes?
Yeah, we just got banter. Like, me and Colman immediately, like, we're two people that get each other's humor. And so, you know, when we're on this whole press tour, or as soon as we saw each other, he's like, how you doing, brother? I'm like, what's good? And then, you know, we just get into banter that I probably couldn't repeat in a public space, because we're just really, our connection is humor. We both love to laugh, and Colman is such a gregarious, generous spirit. What you're seeing of him on the press run is him. It's totally him. He's got a lot of heart. He's an emotional man, but he's like an effervescent spirit. And the type of leader he was on set is different to a lot of different actors. He's very interactive and very engaging, from the supporting artist to the rest of the cast, to the director, to the crew. Like, he's really like involved. And so, you know, being around that energy is a great experience, great to watch. And I'm really proud of him, because he's really been a journeyman actor to the truest sense. You know, Colman's been popping up in everything from The Butler to, you know, he's been in a lot of these historical things as well, Selma. Like, he's done a lot of these roles, and now to see him,
you know, a lot of these movies,
Lincoln, yeah, Lincoln, him and David in that scene with Lincoln, and yeah, so to see him actually take center stage in a role that feels orchestrated, divinely orchestrated for him, that's beautiful. And I'm really happy for him, like, truly, because, you know, he deserves it. And a lot of us actors that journey and do our thing, you know, you wonder if your moment will come in that way, I guess. And it's really come full circle for him, which is beautiful.
You've had a journey yourself. You know, I've watched your movies, obviously The Maze Runner, Sense8, you know, Inside Man 2. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I like that one.
I've seen them all. And so,
Have you seen
like,
Boxing Day?
Boxing Day, we're gonna get into that before we end.
All
But you
right.
know, having worked with Lee and other directors, here you're working with George C. Wolfe. What do
Mm.
you get from his direction and working with this ensemble that helps you out as an actor, skill set wise, that you can take on to whatever project you do next?
What I love most about the directors like George C. Wolfe, who definitely is up there as one of my favorite directors ever, is like, he doesn't fear questions. In fact, he's really compelled by them, and he knows way more about the subject than you will ever know. Now, for the type of actor and person I am, a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts, a particular way of doing things, and then you end up feeling really comfortable when you're met with someone that knows more about the subject than you, and you just go into it and you're like, all right, I'm going with you. You can really, you know, fall in line as a soldier to your leader, you know, and that's not always the case when you're with every director, because sometimes they don't know what they're talking about. They don't have a particular vision, or there's other stuff in the way, where George makes it exciting, you know. He makes it exciting to be an actor again. And that's what I look for in every director or project I'm taking as an actor. I'm like, who's going to make me excited to like be an actor again? You know, to like get back to that childlike vibe, you know?
There's a lot of product out there now in terms of what's streaming, what's in theaters. You know, as we're home for the holidays, we have a you know, pick of the litter. You know, I don't think anybody is channel surfing anymore. People are telling you what to watch, or you have an idea as to what you want to watch. What's a good reason for people to start catching up now, whether it be in the theaters or on Netflix for Rustin, as well as Boxing Day, because of the holidays are coming up, and we want to make
Right.
Boxing Day one of the top Black holiday films to watch.
That's right, of all time. Well, you know, I think Boxing Day is, I say about Boxing Day, it's my heart, because it's, you know, it's kind of based on, you know, my family and particular stories that happen in my life. But it's culturally international. So you have the Caribbean culture, you've got the African culture, you have African American culture. And that's really about me as a writer director. That's what I'm very into, is like, how do I unite the diaspora in a movie and everybody feel like they're involved? It's fun, it's romantic, and I feel like it's rewatchable, which is something, again, as a filmmaker and as an actor, I'm like, yo, will I want to rewatch this again and again? Very similarly, like Rustin, what George did with Rustin, which is brilliant. It has such like pace and passion, and the musicality to it, like the jazz, and you don't get bored watching a political drama, because it's got heart while it's educating. It's fun, it's humorous, it's dynamic. And, you know, that's the type of film, if I was doing this subject, I would try and make that type of film. So I think you're in for a treat watching Boxing Day, my film, and George's film, Rustin. And I'm in both of them, so why not? You know what I mean? Why not? Why not?
Hey, congratulations on the role. It's not always easy to play Martin. You know, you're in that lore of, okay, how many actors have played Martin? So people are always going to mention your name. I'm sure
Okay.
there's more for you to come. Like, you know, we're not there yet. You know, you never know when the next one is going to be the best one. You know, that's why you continue to work, so that way you can keep making the best one, the next one. And so congratulations on this role, on this film. I'm sure we'll talk again. Wherever you're at, take care and stay safe.
Thanks, man. Take care.